Thank you for tuning in and welcome to Aaron Painting! So, today I want to show you how I paint up Death Guard Space Marines, or Death Guard Plague Marines, because Codex is coming up for pre-order this weekend, and it just seems that we should get cracking with some Death Guard videos. And what better place to start than with the regular troops, right? Before we get into the action, if this is your first visit to this channel, please remember to subscribe before you leave. I promise that not only will you find stuff in the archive that you'll probably find useful, but I upload tons of videos and I'm prone to take requests, so if there is something specific you would like a tutorial on, let me know below any of my videos, basically. But enough about that. I have here a single Death Guard on a paint pad, but the way I suggest you work with these and the way I work with them is I put them on a paint stick with a bit of poster putty, because this way, as I've mentioned in other videos, in my mind I picture every stick as a single miniature, and this way it is much easier to get cracking on a whole army without drowning. The two first colors we're going to play with is Dead Flesh from Vallejo's Game Air line, and Goblin Green, also Vallejo Game Air. And the first thing I want to do is I mix up some Goblin Green in the airbrush. If you're not into airbrushing, it's not a problem at all. You can easily do this by hand. Just make a base coat with a Goblin Green-ish color and slowly dry brush up with a Dead Flesh-ish color. But if you're airbrushing, it is faster. That is why I do it. But we will only be airbrushing the base coat on this, guys. The rest is pure, fast and easy brushwork. So I like to put a bit of flow improver, even though they are ready paints, but do it however you feel comfortable. I should probably also mention that I'm using an Iwata Eclipse, and I have the compressor set to around 30 psi. So we'll let this guy dry and we'll get going with the next color. And now we're going with approximately 50-50 mix of Dead Flesh and Goblin Green. And this is to build up a transition, of course. So now that he's completely dry, you can see the effect of this really easy transition. And this will also do very well for pre-shading for all the remaining colors. This will generally just blend through, so to say, on the entire miniature. Don't worry, we'll darken him down quite a bit, but this is good. This is a good starting point, so to say. Anyhow, now we're going to go in and block out all the remaining base colors. And those are Sandry Dust and Raglan Flesh, Chocolate Brown, and my favorite metallics, Brassy Brass and Gunmetal, both from Vallejo. And starting with Sandry Dust, I'm going to pick out all the horns, not metal spikes though, just horns, and of course the sand on the base, as seen in the basing Nurgle video. There. I also picked out the skulls and the shoulder with Sandry Dust. And next, the Rakhoth Flesh, and this will be for all exposed flesh, be it tentacles or these weird tubes and stuff like that. Everything that looks fleshy. next up, after finding all the little tentacles, I'll take some chocolate brown, and this will be for the gun casing, any leathery bits, the sword hilts, and all the little cables that doesn't have, what do you call it, ripples on them. So now, the gunmetal, and this I usually paint on blades, spikes, mechanical doodads, and chains, bells, trim, and the works. All the more ornamental metals I save for the brass. And as the final core color, we'll take some brassy brass, and that will be for all the ornamentation, the bells, the sensors, yeah, basically the remaining details, save for the nasty disease spots around, which we will paint up in orange-brown once we're done adding these core colors. And be very careful once you get close to the smoke, because we want the smoke to stay clean, and if you should hit it, I suggest just going back with the original tone and paint it in again. But it is preferable to simply keep it in the smooth airbrushed hue. That's the base colors in place. And now, just for a tiny bit of detail, I'm going to take some orange-brown and dab in all the little pustules, or whatever you want to call them. I can never seem to decide what I want them to be called. So, like the ones down here. And as you notice, I don't paint in the rivets or nuts, or whatever you want to call them. So, just you could do that, of course. If you don't, then be aware that that you don't suddenly paint them orange, because that might look a bit weird. And finally, I'm going to paint in the eyes with the same orange. And now would be a good time to do any cleanup and fixing of mistakes. And once you've done that, make sure it is completely dry before we continue. But Aaron, I hear you say, how is this speed painting? You've just been blocking out all the different elements with different colors. This is true. But as this is done in a simpler line, it is actually a rather quick process. And now we're gonna wash the entire miniature with Acrylic Earthshade straight out of the pot. So, as always, try to avoid any heavy pooling. Just keep an eye on it while you paint the rest of the line. And if it's still not crisp dry when you washed all the Death Guard models on your table, simply grab the hairdryer. If you have the equipment for it, I suggest hanging him upside down when drying, because that way the pooling will settle in the darker places under his arms and such, rather than in places where you actually want the light to hit. Right. Now that the shade has dried, I'll take some Terminatus stone And you might think I'm crazy now, but I'm gonna dry brush the entire mini with it. Focusing mostly on the smoke and the base, but also just quickly and softly highlighting all the edges of all the colors. I've painted in the Taliban green and the dried bark as showed in the Nurgle base video. And next I'm gonna do a final little highlight, and that is some Flash Kids yellow, and this is for highlighting the eyes and just adding a little dot to all the pox marks. And once I'm happy with that, we're going to grab our final shade. This is Cornbrook Crimson, and I'm gonna mix that 50-50 with Lamaine Medium and use it to give some interesting color to the tentacles and the head in his belt, and also those flesh tubes running from his backpack. Once that is dry, I'm gonna give it a layer of acrylic matte varnish, and once that is dry, we'll add a few special effects. As often before, I'll apologize for the rain. It is sadly still beyond my control, and I am still not in possession of a soundproof studio. Anyway, now we're going to add the final effects. And those will be Nurgle's Rod, Blood for the Blood God, and Sewer Water from Secret Weapon. Starting with the Nurgle's Rod, and this is of course for the pools on the base, but also for all the little sick dots, spots thing, bubbles, and wherever else I feel like adding them, basically. As we've given the miniature a matte finish, it does a lot with a bit of shine here and there. And once the Nurgle's Rod has dried, I'll give the pools on the base another coat, but while we wait, we'll move on to Blood for the Blood God. And this is for any openings in the flesh. So the tears in the flesh tubes, the neck of the severed head, and again, if something strikes my fancy, I'll probably dot a bit of blood there too. But don't overuse this, because it looks stupid if it's not used in limited amounts. Next, the sewer water, and this is just for the blade, to make it stand out as a plate knife. So that's that, and once he's dry, he's ready to join his battle brothers. And that's how I paint Death Guard. I like it. I think it's different from the heavy metal cruise approach, and I think it keeps them very interesting, and it goes well with the very argued busyness of the models, to tone them a bit down, not giving them as vibrant a color scheme. And I really look forward to see the whole army together. So let me know below if you like it, what you would have done differently, if you have any questions, of course. And also, if there is something specific you want to see in next week's errand painting, this is a good place. This and the updates are excellent places to request tutorials. If nothing comes up, I will probably paint some more Nurgle, because I have a lot to go through. And with that, not much more to say from me today, other than take care and bye-bye!